Hello, my friends. Welcome back to English Unleashed. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly improve their English while others struggle for years without making real progress? The secret isn't about studying harder or longer. It's about studying smarter. Think about something as simple as brushing your teeth. You don't spend 5 hours once a year cleaning them intensively. Instead, you dedicate just 2 minutes every single day. And this small daily habit keeps your teeth healthy and strong. The same principle applies to mastering English, and it's more powerful than you might imagine. When we talk about learning English effectively, we're really talking about the magic of consistent practice. This means showing up every day, even when motivation is low, even when life gets busy, even when progress feels invisible. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's the difference between sporadic bursts of effort and steady, reliable growth that compounds over time. Many learners make the mistake of cramming intensive study sessions once in a while, but your brain doesn't learn language this way. Your brain is actually designed to learn through repetition and regular exposure. Every time you encounter English, whether through listening, speaking, reading, or writing, you're building neural pathways that make the language more automatic and natural. When you practice consistently, these pathways become stronger and more efficient. It's like creating a well-worn path in a forest. The more you walk it, the clearer and easier it becomes to navigate. This is why 15 minutes of daily practice will always beat 3 hours of study once a week. The beauty of consistent practice lies in how it transforms your relationship with English. Instead of feeling like a foreign, intimidating subject that you have to conquer, English gradually becomes familiar territory. Your ear becomes attuned to its rhythms and sounds. Your mouth learns to form its words more naturally. Your brain stops working so hard to translate everything and instead begins to think directly in English. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it happens reliably when you commit to showing up every day. Most importantly, consistent practice builds something that no intensive study session can provide: genuine confidence. When you know you've been working on your English every single day, you develop a deep trust in your abilities. You stop being afraid of making mistakes because you know that tomorrow you'll practice again and improve a little more. This confidence isn't fake or forced, it's earned through daily commitment and grows stronger with each passing day. You begin to see yourself not as someone trying to learn English, but as someone who is actively becoming fluent. The science behind why daily practice works so effectively comes down to how your brain actually processes and stores new information. When you expose yourself to English regularly, you're not just memorizing words and rules, you're rewiring your neural networks to recognize patterns automatically. Your brain begins to anticipate what comes next in conversations, predict common word combinations, and understand meaning without conscious translation. This neuroplasticity, or your brain's ability to form new connections, works best with frequent short exposures rather than infrequent long ones. Think of it like building muscle memory, but for language. When you first learned to ride a bicycle, you had to consciously think about every movement: pedaling, steering, balancing. But through repeated practice, these actions became automatic. The same thing happens with English when you practice consistently. At first, you consciously construct each sentence, carefully choosing words and checking grammar.
But with daily repetition, your brain starts to produce English naturally, without the exhausting mental gymnastics of translation and rule checking. Another crucial benefit of consistent practice is how it prevents the dreaded plateau effect. You know that frustrating feeling when you seem to stop improving despite your efforts? This often happens because irregular study creates gaps in your learning momentum. When you take long breaks between practice sessions, your brain has to rebuild connections that have weakened from lack of use. Consistent practice maintains these connections and keeps building upon them, ensuring steady, continuous progress rather than the stop-start cycle that leaves many learners feeling stuck.
Consistent practice also develops what language experts call automaticity, the ability to use language without conscious effort. When you read in your native language, you don't sound out each letter or think about grammar rules. The words simply flow into meaning automatically. This same automaticity can develop in English, but only through regular exposure and use. Each day you practice, you're moving more words, phrases, and structures from conscious memory into automatic recognition and production. Perhaps most importantly, daily practice creates emotional familiarity with English. Fear and anxiety are some of the biggest barriers to language learning, and they thrive on unfamiliarity. When English becomes part of your daily routine, it stops feeling foreign and threatening. You develop a comfortable relationship with the language, where mistakes become learning opportunities rather than sources of shame. This emotional comfort is just as important as technical knowledge because confidence unlocks fluency in ways that grammar books alone never can. Which aspect of English feels most challenging to you right now? Listening, speaking, reading, or writing? Let us know what you're working on improving. Now that you understand why consistent practice works, let's explore exactly what you can accomplish in just 15 minutes of daily English practice. The key is choosing activities that maximize your learning while fitting easily into your schedule. Your first option is focused listening practice, which might be the most accessible way to start. Find a short podcast, audio story, or conversation designed for English learners and simply listen. You don't need to understand every word. In fact, trying to catch every detail can actually slow down your progress. Instead, focus on getting the general meaning and picking up familiar words and phrases. The beauty of listening practice is its flexibility. You can do it while walking to work, preparing meals, or even during your commute. Your brain is incredibly good at absorbing language patterns through passive exposure. So even when you think you're not learning much, you're actually training your ear to recognize English sounds, rhythms, and intonation patterns. Choose content that's slightly below your current level. If you understand about 70%, that's perfect. This gives you enough challenge to grow without becoming frustrated or overwhelmed. Your second powerful 15-minute option is shadowing practice, a technique used by professional interpreters and language learners worldwide. Shadowing means listening to English audio and repeating what you hear simultaneously, like being someone's echo. Start with short, simple sentences and gradually work up to longer passages. This practice works on multiple skills at once. You're training your ear, practicing pronunciation, learning natural rhythm and stress patterns, and building speaking confidence all in one exercise. The magic of shadowing lies in how it bypasses your analytical mind and goes straight to muscle memory. Instead of thinking about grammar rules or perfect pronunciation, you're simply mimicking natural speech patterns. Your mouth learns to move in English-speaking patterns, your brain absorbs correct stress and intonation, and you develop a feel for how English naturally flows. Start with just a few sentences and gradually increase the length as you become more comfortable with the technique. Reading practice offers another
excellent 15-minute option that builds vocabulary and comprehension skills simultaneously. Choose materials slightly below your current level, short news articles, simple stories, or even social media posts in English. The goal isn't to understand every word perfectly, but to build reading fluency and expand your vocabulary naturally through context. When you encounter new words, try to guess their meaning from the surrounding text before looking them up. This develops your ability to infer meaning, a crucial skill for real-world English use. Writing practice might seem intimidating, but it's one of the most effective ways to solidify your English learning in just 15 minutes daily. You don't need to write essays or complex stories. Simple, personal writing works best for building fluency. Start by writing 3 to 5 sentences about your day, your thoughts, or your plans. This type of writing helps you practice grammar naturally while expressing ideas that matter to you. When you write about familiar topics, you're not struggling to understand complex concepts, you're focusing purely on how to express your existing thoughts in English. The power of daily writing lies in how it forces you to actively use vocabulary and grammar structures rather than just recognizing them passively. When you write, you must make decisions about word choice, sentence structure, and grammar, decisions that strengthen your overall English ability. Don't worry about making it perfect. The goal is fluency, not perfection. Write about simple things, what you ate for breakfast, how you felt about a movie you watched, or what you're looking forward to tomorrow. These personal connections make the language more meaningful and memorable. Speaking practice, even when done alone, transforms your English abilities in remarkable ways. Talking to yourself in English might feel strange at first, but it's incredibly effective for building confidence and fluency. Narrate what you're doing throughout your day. I'm making coffee. I'm checking my emails. I'm getting ready for work. This running commentary helps you think in English rather than translating from your native language, which is crucial for developing natural fluency. Self-talk practice works because it removes the pressure and anxiety that often come with speaking to others. You can make mistakes freely, experiment with new words and phrases, and practice difficult sounds without judgment. Try describing your surroundings, explaining your opinions on current events, or even having imaginary conversations with friends or colleagues. The more you hear your own voice using English, the more natural and comfortable it becomes. This builds the foundation for confident communication with others.
The beauty of these 15-minute activities is that you can mix and match them based on your schedule, mood, and learning goals. Some days you might focus entirely on listening while commuting. Other days you might spend 10 minutes reading and 5 minutes writing. The key is consistency, not perfection. Even on busy days when you can only manage 5 minutes of English practice, you're still maintaining your learning momentum and reinforcing the habit that will transform your language abilities over time. Which of these practice activities sounds most doable for your daily routine right now? Tell us what you think you'd enjoy most. Understanding what happens during your English learning journey helps maintain motivation when progress feels slow. After just one day of consistent practice, something important occurs that many learners overlook. You've broken the inertia. That feeling of accomplishment from completing your first day of practice creates positive momentum. You might learn just one new word or understand one phrase better than before, but these small victories are the building blocks of fluency. Your brain begins to recognize that English practice is now part of your routine, and this recognition alone starts rewiring your relationship with the language. 1 week of daily practice creates noticeable changes in how your brain processes English. You'll find yourself remembering words more easily, and your listening comprehension will improve without conscious effort. Instead of translating every single word in your head, you'll start recognizing phrases and expressions as complete units of meaning. This is when language learning becomes less exhausting because your brain isn't working as hard to decode every element separately. You might surprise yourself by understanding a conversation or sentence that would have completely confused you just a week earlier.
After 1 month of consistent daily practice, the transformation becomes undeniable. English stops feeling completely foreign and starts feeling familiar, like a neighborhood you're getting to know well. Your vocabulary has grown not just in terms of individual words, but in your understanding of how words work together naturally. You'll find yourself using phrases and expressions you've absorbed through repeated exposure, even without consciously memorizing them. Most importantly, you'll notice that you're not reaching for your dictionary or translation app nearly as often as before. The confidence that develops through consistent practice is perhaps the most valuable benefit of all. Unlike fake confidence that comes from memorizing phrases or rules, this genuine confidence is earned through daily experience with the language. You know you can handle English conversations, reading, and writing challenges because you've been doing it every single day. This genuine confidence shows up in your body language, your willingness to participate in English conversations, and your ability to take risks with the language without fear of making mistakes. What many learners don't realize is that consistency creates compound learning effects. Each day of practice doesn't just add to your knowledge, it multiplies it. The vocabulary you learned last week combines with this week's grammar practice, which connects with today's listening comprehension, creating a web of interconnected language skills. This compound effect means that after several months of consistent practice, your progress accelerates dramatically. You're not just learning English anymore, you're thinking, dreaming, and naturally processing information in English. Making consistent practice sustainable requires practical strategies that fit seamlessly into your real life. The most effective approach is to create simple tracking systems that make your progress visible and rewarding. Use a calendar, notebook, or phone app to mark each day you complete your English practice. This visual representation of your consistency becomes incredibly motivating. You'll want to keep the streak going and avoid breaking the chain of successful days. Seeing your progress mapped out over weeks and months provides concrete evidence of your commitment and helps you push through days when motivation is low. Time management often becomes the biggest obstacle to consistent practice, but this challenge is easier to overcome than you might think. Set a timer for exactly 10 or 15 minutes and commit to practicing only for that duration. This approach works because it removes the overwhelming feeling that you need hours of free time to make progress. When the timer goes off, you can stop guilt-free, or if you're enjoying the practice, you can continue. Most importantly, this strategy proves to yourself that you do have time for English, even on your busiest days. Creating a routine around your English practice transforms it from a daily decision into an automatic habit. Choose the same time each day for your practice, whether it's with your morning coffee, during lunch break, or before bed. When English practice becomes associated with an existing habit, it requires less mental energy and willpower to maintain. Just like brushing your teeth, it becomes something you do automatically rather than something you have to convince yourself to do each day. The secret to long-term success is making your practice genuinely enjoyable rather than feeling like a chore. Choose materials and activities that align with your interests and personality. If you love cooking, practice with English recipe videos. If you're interested in technology, read simple articles about tech trends. If you enjoy music, incorporate English songs into your learning routine. When you're genuinely interested in the content, practice feels less like work and more like entertainment, making it much easier to maintain consistency over months and years. Remember that consistency doesn't mean perfection. Some days you'll feel motivated and energetic, practicing for longer than planned. Other days you might only manage 5 minutes of listening while stuck in traffic. Both scenarios count as successful practice days. The goal is to maintain contact with English every single day, regardless of the duration or intensity. Like watering a plant, small, regular care produces better results than occasional intensive attention. Trust the process, celebrate small victories, and remember that every day of practice is an investment in your future fluency. Your English-speaking self is already waiting for you. Consistent daily practice is simply the bridge that connects who you are now with who you're becoming. What's the biggest obstacle that usually prevents you from practicing English daily, and how do you think you could overcome it? Share your thoughts and let's help each other stay consistent.